You are listening to the USDN on the DFPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. Heroes used to save the world. Now, they're just trying to save the neighborhood. Tonight on the USDN Podcast, we enter the world of GWP, Guys with Powers. And yes, they sound just like an old-school WWE tag team, but they are a gritty indie superhero universe built from the ground up by the team at Thunderzone Comics. I had that wrong earlier. Joining us are writer Ray MacKay and Dan Sehn.
That is it.
Nailed it. And they are the crew behind one of Kickstarter's newest indie superhero projects, blending street-level stakes, larger-than-life powers, and old-school comic energy into something that feels raw, ambitious, and unapologetically indie. We'll be talking about building a new superhero universe in today's comic landscape, balancing classic comic inspiration with modern storytelling, Kickstarter culture, indie comics, world building, and what it really takes to create a superhero book outside of the mainstream machine. This isn't corporate superheroes. This is indie comics with power. Ladies and gentlemen, the Council of Nerds is now in session. Dan, Ray, welcome to the Council, friends.
Much appreciated. Thanks for having us.
Great to be back. Thanks for having us.
Dude, absolutely glad I could fill this spot tonight and have a show. So with that, I'm going to start with you, Dan, since this is your first time visiting us here at the Council. Give everybody a little bit of background on who you are and kind of what got you into comics.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm pretty much a lifelong comic book fan. I'm not sure what year it was. I think I got in on the 20-cent comic. So I missed out on the 15-cent comic. I started at the 20-cent, went to 25, 35. We all know what it's up to today. But I had, I guess, was given comics by my parents because it was before I had any of my own money. And followed the big two. Got into the indie comics early on after years of the big two. And then through that, saw that it was possible to do your own comics and started about 20 years ago with Argo Comics, ARGO Comics, which I published. Argo 5 is a main title of mine, and Sorority of Power. After about publishing 100 books, I had a number of friends who were publishing as well, and I thought they wanted me to publish their books. I didn't want to just put that all in the same universe as Argo Comics, so I started Thunderzone Comics, which is kind of like the early Image Comics, where you have a number of studios. They all have their own superheroes, but they're all on the same Earth. So it's kind of a shared comics universe, the Thunderzone Comics imprint. We have creators from Singapore and Puerto Rico and Ireland. We have Austrian comic coming pretty soon. So it's pretty much giving some exposure to these worldwide properties that just aren't really known in the States. And in doing that, I have my hands full with the Argo Comics line, Thunder Zone Comics as well. And I'm fortunate enough to collaborate with a number of artists and some writers, such as Ray right here, who took over scripting duties for GWP Guys with Powers.
Apparently, he is also a super writer.
That's Brian. He's too kind to me. He's too kind to me.
Dude, I said this the very first time you were on the podcast, that you will be something special someday in the comic book world, and you are making me out not to be a liar, so I appreciate that.
Well, I do my best, and I really can't thank you enough for saying that. And also, I'm just really grateful to be here and to be given the opportunities to work on scripting projects like GWP with Dan. I know it'll sound corny to say, but I just had such a blast doing GWP. It was so much fun to work on, and I feel bad. I'm really sorry, Dan. I know I was texting you like 3 times a day for a couple weeks straight, being like, okay, so what about this detail for da-da-da? What about this? What about that? Just, I got so into it. It was so fun.
No, it's that attention to detail that's needed for, someone who's invested in a project, which is great to see, rather than, someone who's a bit more detached from it.
Yeah, well, we get to do comics. Of course, we're going to do it 100%. It's comics. Like, come on, it's so fun.
Ray, before we get too carried away with that, remind the council who Ray MacKay is.
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Ray MacKay. I'm a comics writer, graduated college student now, I guess. No longer a soccer goalie. And I've written comics for Big Bang Comics, Antarctic Press, Argo Comics Thunder Zone, Grok Comics, and many other publishers. But above all else, I'm just a huge fan of both comics and movies. I love getting to go on shows like this because it gives me a chance to talk about my love of comics.
Love it, man. So how did you find Ray, and kind of how did this relationship come to be?
I think the probably the Facebook comics community is a big meeting place for a lot of comic creators, 100%. Where you're just posting on different comic pages. I in the Argo Comics YouTube channel each month, pretty much more so than promoting my own stuff, which I should be doing, I'm showing what I'm buying, and a bunch of it is Ray's work, because I'll buy Big Bang Comics, G-Man Comics, a number of indie comics. I don't even cover the big 2, being that I feel there's enough exposure there. They have marketing and everything. People know those books are out there. I feel, let's shed some light on some of these indie books that people may not know. I'm still, stuck on physicals, so it's only the physical books that I'm reading.
I have so many digital comics, and they literally just go into a folder on my hard drive, and I'll wait for the physical one to come to my house. That way I can read it the old school way.
I can't agree more. Like, if I have to work on something and I need to read like the previous 10 issues, I'll read the digital version, but I like having a physical one. Like, for me, I want to sit there and I want to read the comic. I don't want to be on my computer. I just want to enjoy reading it,
Mm-hmm. You wrote a fantastic Alpha Red script, by the way, Ray. Oh,
again, they're really too kind. James rewrites so much of what I do, or like puts his own spin on it. It's funny, what I do with James Newen of Alpha Red Comics is almost the opposite of what me and Dan did for GWP, where I just sort of do the script Marvel style and give James like some ideas for like what the dialogue would be, and then he sort of puts it together himself, because Alpha Red is his character. It's so close to his heart. He knows how that character talks and acts better than I do, and he sort of makes that magic happen. I'm just happy to get the ball rolling.
No, that's incredible, dude. And I told you from the get-go that you were going places, and you're absolutely 100% going places. I'm glad you took my advice and started doing the Facebook thing, started doing the Instagram thing. So that for me, you know, seeing you succeed like this is really awesome. And shout out to Dan for giving you another opportunity to let your talent show through. But let's talk about what brings us here tonight, and that is GWP. So what is GWP Guys with Powers? And I will let y'all decide amongst yourselves who wants to go first.
Yeah, Ray can go ahead.
Oh gosh, I was just about to say, Dan, it's your book. Do you want to give it a shot? But I can go for it. Just correct me wherever I get this wrong. So GWP is a 3-issue miniseries that's going to be coming from the Argo Comics Thunder Zone. And GWP stands for Guys with Powers, because this series isn't about a superhero team. It's about a group of people with powers that are brought together by a guy who was a part of a superhero team at one point, Cosmos. He was on a team, they're gone, and he's not going to repeat the mistakes of the past, but he still needs to take down Elijah Smoke, who's a ruthless crime lord that's threatening to take over Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, as well as all of New York. So without the ability to put together a team, Cosmos has to assemble a ragtag group of heroes to basically take back their city from this crime lord before it's too late.
Dan, how did you do?
Sorry?
Said Dan, how did he do?
Oh, yeah, no, that was dead on. Yeah, I mean, again, I've done Argo 5 for over 15 years. I have issue 48 I'm lettering. That is a more standard superhero book, but as time goes on, I have to, you know, give things a different flavor. I have Sorority of Power, which is a sorority of superheroines. I have a book, Big House Blues, where the superheroes are corrections officers in a supervillain prison. And this was just an opportunity to get a bit more urban in the fact that I spent the majority of my life in New York. You know, this team is based out of Bed-Stuy, which is a area in Brooklyn, known to be a kind of a rough area. So, you know, I'll have like firsthand account to give that proper flavor to that. And, you know, we've worked with Ron Charles Williams, the artist who drew this miniseries, and he was really in tune with that as well. So really captured that flavor, and, you know, Ray gave it the proper spin so as not to just be like an X-Men book or a Justice League book. Those books are out there. There's a lot of fans that already like that.
Yeah.
Why go to the indie if you're just going to give them your take on that? We got to give them something different. And in doing so, that's where we took GWP. I'm always in favor of giving people something that you're not going to see in the mainstream comics.
That's a good segue to this question is, where do you guys get the creative inspiration and ideas to write new stories, characters, and universes?
I am going to pass the baton off to Dan on this one, because like I am really proud of all the stuff I got to bring to GWP, but it was your idea and your story. And like the art was completely finished before I even started on it. So this one's really, I'm really curious actually to find this one out. or to learn more?
Well, the answer to that question is to look outside of the regular influences of just movies and comics. And I mean, movies and comics have kind of covered everything, but I like to go more towards life and the fact that, let's say for that book where I had corrections officers as superheroes, I had prior years in law enforcement. I talked a lot with the corrections officers and kind of did research right there and then. So seeing that wasn't done in a comic, that's where I come up with something like that. Again, sorority of power, way back, I had a girlfriend who was in a sorority at some point, prior to me going out with her. But I said, there really hasn't been a sorority of superheroes where I have like 3 of them are pledges, 3 of them are sisters. The pledges have to go through a year of pledging to have adventures and kind of gain membership into this, kind of like a training academy for future superheroines. And GWP, again, was just my time in New York. I was actually in Long Island, but Brooklyn and Queens was just a Cross Island Parkway drive away from where I was. And, I kind of soaked that in and said to myself, I'm not really sure. I think Milestone Comics kind of like delved into that a little bit. But we all have our own personal experiences. So I kind of, gave it my own twist and my own flavor from my own experiences. So again, answering that question, I try to take it from life.
No, I like that a lot. And the fact that you're from Long Island makes it even better. And that's a half-a-day commute across those bridges.
Yeah, I was actually working in Long Island, so I was okay. But when you go down the Cross Island, Southern State Parkway to the Cross Island.
Yeah.
To the Belt Parkway, actually. And I had a friend who was in near Kings Plaza in Brooklyn. So I kind of would go over there, hang out with him. He's a comic artist himself. And we would, I get more and more exposed to the Brooklyn mentality and lifestyle, hanging out with him. And, he actually did some work in Argo Comics. So he went to School of Visual Arts. And in that respect, again, he was a Brooklynite. He grew up in Brooklyn. So being good friends with him for years and years, you kind of like, and going out to Brooklyn, you kind of like soak up what that's all about and put it onto the page.
Yeah, I highly recommend anybody go there at least once because it's a fun trip. I've been there. Granted, I stayed on the New Jersey side and took the water taxi across. It's a little cheaper to stay in Jersey, and loved it. Like, it was so fun. We went at Christmas time, did the Christmas tree thing, and went everywhere we could using the bus. So,
okay,
good
It's
times.
top of my list to visit. It's top of my
Highly
list.
recommend. Highly recommend.
It's in so many of my favorite movies. Like, my dad was in New York ages ago, and he sent me like a photo from a specific subway stop that's in The Warriors, and I loved it. Like, I'm gonna have to do. If they had like the Warriors walking tour in New York, I would go to it. It would be amazing.
Dude, to be fair, they probably do. They have every other one.
I'll just love that movie. Sorry, complete tangent.
No, you're good. You were good, man. Because, dude, I love New York. It's such a, like, I wouldn't want to live there, but a good week there, get it out of your system for a while and call it good.
Yeah, that's what we said. It was a good place to visit, but not living there. I did 3 years working at a corporate fitness center in Rockefeller Center. And
Yeah, that's a good stop right there on any tour to New York. Go to the Rockefeller Center.
yeah. I mean, growing up, I would go to Radio City Music Hall Christmas shows,
Yep.
parents and everything. But yeah, working in Manhattan again gave me some experience in that, and it's it's a different mentality. Like Long Island, people say, "Oh yeah, I'm here in Florida now. You're from New York." They're picturing skyscrapers and everything. It isn't, Long Island wasn't that different than the area of Florida here in the Panhandle. But I did live in that world for a bit, so it gives you experience to bring that to the comics.
So let's jump in and talk a little bit about the Kickstarter. Do you have a release date yet for the Kickstarter, or is that still something you're working on?
Yeah, that is something we're just finalizing. Trying to get people to click on that notify me, get the follower number up. Supposedly you should have 100 people following. So anyone who's watching right now, please go over to the Kickstarter page.
Down in the description.
Yeah, the link's over there. You can always just search GWP on Kickstarter, and it's going to be pretty much your only your top thing that you're going to get when you search that. But yeah, if we can get those follower numbers up, and the book is complete. So I don't launch anything till the book's complete, because I know the original purpose with Kickstarter, get the money to pay the artist to do the work. I invested in that myself. I believe in the project. I invested my money in that, because I'm not going to ask other people to invest if I don't believe in it myself. So
that's kind of like one of the golden rules right there, though, is have the book done, ready to go. That way you're paying for the printing and maybe a little bit of profit on the backside.
If it comes to that, then, now we have the printing covered a little bit for issue 2, and, creative, keeping all these artists paid. There's more money coming in to have pay artists to create more books.
That's the goal right there, always.
Oh yeah.
So why do you think Kickstarter has become so important to indie comics? And that's for both of y'all. Ray, you can go first.
I mean, again, I feel like I should defer to Dan's superior wisdom, because he's run more Kickstarters than I have. Like, I've participated in a lot, but I haven't run them. But I mean, I think the thing that makes Kickstarter really great is it opens up the ability for anyone to sort of fund a comic or find an audience for that comic. And obviously you still have to do the legwork. You have to post about it. You can't just launch a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo or whatever you want and then expect people to just sort of buy your comic. This isn't Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will not come. You have to build it and then advertise it.
Market it.
Yeah. But I think it's great because it allows so many people to sort of like do the thing that they love, and it allows lots of fans to get their hands on comics that sort of are out of the mainstream. Like GWP, unfortunately, probably isn't coming to a comic shop near you anytime soon, but neither are so many of the books that are sort of on Kickstarter. And I'm from Vancouver, big city. We have one comic shop. Unfortunately, comic shops aren't as prevalent as they used to be. So,
which is odd that you said that, because I know of 10 within driving distance of me, but then you hear of big cities like Vancouver, and there's like one.
Yeah.
And I know, Dan, I think there might be 2 in the area you live in.
Yeah, one in Fort Walton and one in Gulf Breeze, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, we've got more out like in the Richmond area, but there's only one like actually in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you scripting the other issues of the miniseries, Ray?
Yes. I mean, I always want to be like going back and tweaking little things because I'm a perfectionist or I have OCD. It's probably a combination of those two. But yes, I did do the script for all 3 issues, and Dan's going through and sort of polishing them up and correcting me where I've screwed stuff up. So yeah.
Dan, what are your thoughts on Kickstarter?
Yeah, well, Kickstarter is a great place for not having to be in the comic store, as Ray said, and for people who are globally, again, that's another thing that's, I guess, part of my brand, because now wherever anyone is, they're able to back this Kickstarter and get it shipped to them. That availability, I mean, look, the comic shops had a hard enough time with the big 2 trying to figure out what to order from them. There were days where there were a lot of comic shops that could try out a lot of stuff. I got into Love and Rockets and Ninja High School and Gold Digger, all the Image books when they first came out. All these books they were able to take a gamble on. Times are a bit tougher now, and they're ordering a bit more conservatively. There are some outlets, which I'm exploring right now, that will offer these books to the comic shops. But in that, it's a tough sale because, again, they're even trying to figure out, like, should we order issues of the new X Factor reboot or whatever's coming out from a big, from the big 2.
Yeah.
They can barely, they're not returnable. Back in the day when they were returnable and they can rip off the cover, the comic shops were ordering a bit more freely. Now, it's a bit tougher, but we'll in talks with Filbo Distribution, get these books,
a good one,
at least offered to the comic stores, and hopefully we see some expansion with that.
So I know this doesn't affect y'all per se, but how did the news of Kickstarter killing a lot of the not safe for work stuff with Stripe going, hey, we're striking these out because they contain not safe for work material? What was y'all's initial impressions of that?
Didn't they rescind that already?
Stripe is still pushing that.
Oh, I thought they pulled it back.
So they did to some degree, but I think it's still causing a lot of issues for a lot of people putting books out.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah.
Yeah, in actuality, I had just, it's not a, it is, I would say not a NSFW. It was, I have kind of like a SSFW, like a somewhat safe for work book coming out. Clickbait. Actually, the 3 we have in pre-launch right now, GWP, Clickbait, and Earthfall. So if you search those 3, or actually if you search one of them and then you get to my profile, you'll see all 3 of those are in pre-launch right now. GWP will be the first. But Clickbait, I didn't just do it for the sake of having cheesecake and stuff like that. It actually, the sexiness is part of the story. It actually makes sense. She's in the Thunder Zone universe. Another book completed. So, but just as they announce this, I have to just see which of the images, again, there's no X, so it really isn't a problem with that. But I just have to see which of the images under the new guidelines, might seem more risque or not for Stripe. Because, I mean, Sorority of Power, that wasn't, it was cheesecake to some degree, but, kind of standard, more in line what you might see in a standard comic. But this, I just went a little further. Again, in exploring something that perhaps wasn't in the big two. And we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But people can click notify on all three of those, and they'll see those stories unfold.
No, it's going to be an interesting few weeks. I know there's other companies out there rushing to try to create something new for the not safe for work crowd, and more power to them. And hopefully Kickstarter figures this out soon, but we will see how that goes. So what has been the biggest challenge you think of running a campaign? Yeah, I'll let Dan go. I know your answer, Ray.
Oh, no.
The answer is just getting people to see that you have that campaign going, because there's a lot of campaigns. Social media, from what I hear, is not great on the algorithms for anything that has a link in it. So it gets tough just to spread the word. And now at least Kickstarter has those late pledges, so that those people who come to you right after the campaign is done and say to you, "Oh, you had a campaign?" It's like, yeah, I've been posting every day for the past month.
Yeah.
That over that with this, like even now with the pre-launch, that you're posting. The algorithm isn't really letting it get seen enough. So just the visibility and getting the word out. That's why we appreciate being on a show like this to, perhaps expose the book to some people who aren't necessarily in my social media feeds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm a very much a cradle to grave podcast. I get you on the podcast. I get you clips to help you push your books. I share everything that I possibly can when it comes across the feed, and Ray can attest for this. And I try to support it start to finish as much as I can. And same, I'm scratching your back and y'all are scratching mine at the same time, so it works out for all the parties involved. So that's part of this is building that community up. So. But definitely launching a comic independently today feels very much being part creator, part entrepreneur. Do you feel that pressure at all? Maybe, Dan, I'll let you have that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of us, myself included, love the creative part. And we're not really like the carnival balkers. I was in New York. I did New York Comic Con, for quite a number of years. And yeah, it comes down to sometimes having a little bit of that to get people to check out what's at your table. But yeah, a lot of creators want to be what I'll call not an artist, an artiste. So they want to
it's French.
I'm sharing with you my creative explorations, and the money and all that is beneath me, and it's just like, well, unfortunately, if no one buys the book, if no one hears about the book, you really can't have to just keep it going in the sense of art for art's sake. You kind of need some support. And of course, that's the point of doing this, is that you want people to read it. No one's looking to make a load of money, as Stan Lee famously said, if you want to make $1 million in comics, start out with 2 million. So, I was actually on a message board in Facebook, or a post in this big thread about whether the artist should promote or not. And, most of them was like, I'm not getting paid to promote. So that doesn't really fall on to me. It doesn't benefit me. And, my response being that if you want this writer to perhaps hire you to draw a second issue, then it's in your best interest to, get the word out. I mean, it seems like artists don't have a problem if they do work for the big two, singing that to the heavens. I worked for Marvel.
Even for a short time, they still tell you.
Yeah, but we and that's great. I mean, obviously, you reached that pinnacle, and so many of the best creators have been in those the big two. But that indie needs that a lot more.
Yeah.
And, they didn't pay for that comic to be produced through shareholders or anything. That was out of pocket. Blue collar worker, perhaps, working hard for the money, and then, paying you to draw that. So again, no, you don't. It isn't a requirement. But in the
I would definitely be looking for a different artist on issue 2.
essence of, getting exposure, which is key right now. The artist who is, at least sharing your post and saying, look here,
It's not much, right, to share a post. That shit is free, and it takes no time at all.
Yeah, so that just gives you a boost that they're invested, they're on your side. It's not like, well, I got mine. Good luck with the book. It's
But then at that point, are you obligated to put their name on the cover?
Yeah, of course. You have to give credit where credit is due. But
so you would think they would be obligated to at least share and do those kinds of things, right?
You would think that it's in their best interest also to show, look, I'm a working artist. People are paying me. They're getting that eyes on their work to be like, there's been a number of artists and colorists who I've worked with, who all of a sudden, indie publishers see, we're publishing at about that level. So I'm sure the page rates are something we can cover.
Mm-hmm.
And, all of a sudden they're getting a lot of indie work from a lot of indie companies.
Yeah.
And I've had a few, of course, graduate to Marvel and DC. And that's always, bittersweet in the fact that, now they have to do the work for that, and it's great for them. But, there's always just a constant, again, through that Facebook networking and everything like that, find these new talents.
Yeah. And, I will say Facebook, from this perspective, from an indie comic perspective, is there's some amazing groups out there with a lot of amazing people who are all like there for each other. And it's really cool to be a part of those groups. I wish I had more time to spend in those groups outside of just advertising myself and what I do and trying to get guests and that kind of stuff. And, but it's a whole thing. And whenever I can participate, I do participate in those groups, but it is really hard when you're really busy all of a sudden and living one of the best lives you can with this kind of stuff. So let's talk about these characters that you have created. And so what I want to do here, I will say the character's name. I'll let you introduce it, Dan. And then I want to have Ray tell us how he kind of helped shape that character. Can we do that?
Sure.
All right. We'll start with Cosmos.
Okay, so yeah, Cosmos is pretty much the leader of the group, and he has powers to draw starlight, and the fact that he uses that for super strength, starbolt blast, and flight. So he's the most experienced of the group, and he did lead a super team before that is now defunct, and we get into that throughout the series of what happened there. But
I should have given you a cat.
yeah, he is kind of serious because, again, he's seen the tragedy with the last team, and he knows there's stuff to be done in Bed-Stuy, but he doesn't want to repeat any of the mistakes of the past.
Ray, I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, well, I really tried to build off sort of what Dan had in the outline and sort of what we talked about sort of for GWP and the character of Cosmo. And I think at the core, he was a guy who was a part of sort of a traditional superhero team that's gone now. Like, his superhero team is gone. They're over, they're done. He's all that's left. But the work isn't done. And he wants to learn from the mistakes of like the destruction of his previous team. So he's trying something different, more akin to like a strike force than sort of like a superhero team. They're not going to be like these, maybe like, what would be the best way to put it? I think Cosmo's really operating out of an area of, I don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past. I'm not going to get people killed or whatever may have happened. And he's also, again, we'll get more into it in sort of the later issues, but he's being smart this time. He's being really smart. He's been studying the criminals that they're trying to take down in this issue. He's been studying them for months. He has a plan, and there's no just showing up to stop a bank robbery. They have a plan. They're ready for these guys. They know what they're doing. It's a precise strike. There's no messing around with GWP. When they come for you, you're done.
Strike Force. You were right. All right, we'll kick it back up to Dan with Radioactive Girl.
Okay. Yeah, she has the power to shoot like a radioactive flame and propel herself into flight with that. So, again, just to contrast her with, let's say a Wonder Woman or something like that, this is more the flavor of people I had seen in Brooklyn. So her personality is perhaps not exactly what you're going to see from the standard female superhero. But, she's kind of like the reasonable one of the group. She's a little more... whereas a couple of them might be a little more go, go, go. And of course, as Ray was just saying, Cosmos, he wants to be very strategic, and she helps like pull in the reins occasionally when some of the others might be a little more aggressive.
Ray, kick it over to you.
Yeah, jumping off of that, the one kind of thing I really didn't want to do is I didn't want to make the person with flames the hothead. That's just, it's been done to death. That's Johnny Storm or any other sort of like fiery hero. It's, they're a hothead. And I really liked what Dan had in mind for the character of Radioactive Girl or Jasmine, that she's a little more cool and collected, and she's got a big heart as well. She really cares for the team, and she also has a great deal of trust in Cosmo and can sort of be the voice of reason to the actual hotheads on the team, and is willing to play a bit of a peacemaker because, again, Cosmo is sort of the strategic leader. He's going to tell you what to do, but he's not exactly he might not necessarily like take the time to sort of talk about your feelings about the mission. She'll be there to sort of like help you actually, she's there for her teammates if they're nervous before the attack or the fight, or if something goes wrong on a mission, she's the one that's there while Cosmos is sort of drawing up the next battle plan.
Phaze.
No,
go ahead, Ray.
That's part of the reason why I sort of had her as like a physics grad student, because that takes a great deal of sort of just, I know a lot of physics students. Holy cow, do you have to be smart to do that? Yeah. And you also have to have a lot of patience and just a temperance. Yeah.
Dan, are you watching Eevee?
Am I watching what show?
Eevee.
No.
Eevee is the one currently on the top shelf.
Eevee is on the top shelf of your screen?
Yeah, of my bookcase over there.
Oh, that I cannot make out. Eevee.
So you're up there?
I see white boxes. I see some action figures.
Go up to the very top shelf.
Eyes are not what they should be. I don't have the screen enlarged enough to see. I do see the
good. And then there's Toby right there. Toby's my bum.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're lucky it's not tomorrow. Otherwise, I'd have the Habs game open on another tab.
No, I seen you looking up. I was like, oh, is he watching my cat? How she jumps up to my top shelf over there. I've had to rearrange that whole. There was stuff sitting on top of that shelf. I've had to since move down to a different shelf because, that she took over that spot.
Oh.
When she wants to be left alone, that's where she goes. But up next, Dan, kicking it back to you with Phaze.
Okay, Phaze. He exists in a number of dimensions at the same time. So, in that respect, he's able to like kind of see the world in a multitude of different ways, affect the world in a multitude of different ways by affecting things in another dimension that has a repercussion in this dimension. So again, it was a little out there, but I don't want to just have another like dude who's, let's say, telekinetic or something.
Yeah, very Dr. Manhattan-esque.
Yeah, I mean, potentially there, but this has kind of driven him a little mad. So he's kind of on the edge there with that. So perhaps he doesn't have the capacity to utilize these powers in the way that Dr. Manhattan does. But Cosmos, again, being that more strategic and kind of like getting all the puzzle pieces in place, knows what an asset that Phaze is, and is almost like a counselor to him to some degree, to get him through whatever he's getting through and help him be a valuable member of the team, get done what they need to get done.
Ray, over to you.
I had a lot of fun writing up Phaze, and there's a scene in issue 2 that really focuses in on him and explains how his powers work, and I cannot wait for us to get to that. But when we say
just drop a good teaser in there that we're not going to see for a while. Thanks, Ray.
I mean, it's my job. I got to make you come back for issues 2 and 3. Come on. I got to make you buy issue 1. I got to make you buy issue 2. I got to make you buy issue 3. I gotta make you buy the trade paperback that's gonna have like the script in the back or something. I don't know.
Hey, as long as you come back here and we get to talk about it again, I'm all about it.
You got a deal there. But Phaze, I had a lot of fun with it. Just and like the script for issue 2 like isn't finalized yet. I don't think, but I had a lot of fun sort of playing with the idea that like Ted or Phaze lives in multiple dimensions at once. Like that isn't an exaggeration. And like issue 2 is going to talk a little bit about how when he first got his powers, he spent years sort of lost in different times and worlds, and how most people think it drove him crazy. But now that he can master it, he can sort of pass through them at will. And his mind and body are constantly like shifting between different times and spaces. And he can sort of harness the residual chaos energy from his travels into sort of kinetic or energy blasts. And he can be anywhere at any time, but all of that power, all that infinite power is still guided by a human mind. And he's not Dr. Manhattan. He can't really handle it all at the same time.
He's a Jedi.
Yes, in a lot of
ways. He's
using
the Force.
In a lot of ways, it's kind of like that, sort of like the Force, the idea of just like the consciousness being one at the universe. But also, if you were on a hockey team with a guy who was at one with the universe and was constantly just sort of spaced out for hours at a time, existing in other dimensions, you'd probably think he'd lost his freaking mind, which is a discussion that Radioactive Woman will have with one of the members of the team, Dominico, and that will sort of get into why Cosmos trusts Phaze, even though he might be a little mentally unbalanced. You know,
that was a really good segue, actually, because we're going to kick it back up to Dan for Dominico. Dominico.
I just have to say first that we never did really test Phaze's midichlorian levels, so I can't really confirm it generally or not. But Dominico, I have in Argo 5 a character who's Maltese, okay, from the island of Malta. He's part of Maltese mythology, okay, and I am half Maltese, but I am also half Dominican, so from the Dominican Republic, and I didn't have a hero with that background, so Dominico was born as my other character in Argo 5 is the super strong bulletproof one. It just seems, I guess, from many years in the gym that I like my teams to have a super strong bulletproof type guy. Dominico filled that role, but again, not being like a Superman or something like that. I guess more towards the vein of Luke Cage or something.
Okay.
But, you know, with the Latino flair. So, and again, sometimes, I guess none of them are really super hotheads, but perhaps when you're that strong and bulletproof, you kind of charge in thinking that might be the best game plan. So, and as Ray said, we have the Radioactive Girl not being the hothead. So kind of like not just like Colossus and all these characters who I love, Wonder Man, they're always a little more laid back and timid and not, you know, punch first. So maybe we got some role reversal here where our Flame character is more pragmatic and we have our super strong character a little more gung-ho.
He's our barbarian if we're playing D&D.
Yeah.
Go.
Or a paladin.
Or a paladin, yeah. But all right, let's talk about these Turbo Twins. We'll round it out. Actually, I'm sorry, Ray. I didn't give you a chance to speak on
Dominico.
Oh,
Dominico.
I mean, I was just going to say, and like, I don't want to like talk too much about like stuff that we might not necessarily get into for this issue, but one of the things that I tried to sort of build into the background about Dominico is he's a semi-recent immigrant to Bed-Stuy. Sorry, I've never been. I'm bad at that. And he was very much welcomed by sort of the neighborhood and the community. So when the gangsters like Elijah Smoke start sort of taking it over and pumping drugs and weapons into it, he's going to get angry, and he's not going to want to wait around for a strategic plan to take them out. He's going to want to go for Elijah Smoke, and he's going to want to go for blood. He's not going to want to wait around and strategize. He's going to want to take them out.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right. Now we'll kick it back up to Dan with the Turbo Twins.
Okay. The Turbo Twins, and I'm going over each of their powers as you're asking me about them, because there's a little problem sometimes in an indie comic where perhaps the creator knows the powers and knows the names of the characters. So in spitting out the issue, they forget that the people don't know that. And sometimes these things are not relayed in an issue. And we even have kind of like a double page spread, which I think you see in the preview that we gave, that we let you know who these people are. We let you know what their powers are. In the case of the Turbo Twins, they are twins that they have a special, again, trying to give something that I haven't seen done. You could just have two acrobatic twins. They're young kids. So I guess that would end up being kind of like two pucks from Alpha Flight, undoubtedly Ray's favorite Marvel characters. But I gave them this ability where if they are within 5 feet of each other, you can't defeat them. So it's almost not like a One Punch Man situation where they're going to take you out with one move, but you're not going to take them out if they're 5 feet from each other. There's some, special magic at work that's going to allow them to counter whatever is being thrown at them. But there is that possibility that they get separated, and that's when they're vulnerable.
Twin magic.
Yeah. And one detail that everything Dan said about the twins is brilliant, and I had never read about a power like this before, so it was super fun to sort of get to play with and just to read, like as a fan myself. And what I really find interesting about writing the twins is they're second generation superheroes and the niece and nephew of Cosmos. So
cool.
That's not only has
that's
Cosmos,
a great backstory. Like, it's
Sorry?
generational. It's a generational thing to be a super.
And whether or not, and what happened to their parents is something we'll get into in later issues. That's a mystery that we're going to tackle. And whether or not Cosmos is doing the right thing by bringing them onto GWP and sort of trying to turn them into superheroes like him is something that sort of the various members of GWP have different thoughts on. Not everybody agrees that it's a great idea, despite the fact that they're an invaluable asset. There's arguments about whether or not it's a great idea to bring like two kids under the age of 10 into a gunfight. Maybe they're unbeatable when they're within 5 feet of each other, but what's sort of the moral obligation? It's kind of like the Robin debate, I suppose. Like, at what point is Batman just doing child endangerment?
Yeah, but he adopts them. You have to have no parents in order to become a Robin. They at least have parents, and they get to hang out with their cool Uncle Cosmos, all right?
I mean,
at least they're not hanging out with a drunk uncle. I mean, yeah, do we really want to go there with Tim Drake? Come on.
Yeah,
his mom sold him.
The Robin role.
So, I mean, he didn't have the best parents growing up. How about that?
I just want to add for them that the fighting style is mostly these two-person maneuvers.
Mhm.
So I guess the best analogy I can make would be like tag team moves when in, let's say, WWE or whatever, when they make the tag, but the two of them are still in there.
Yeah.
And they do some maneuver. And, this is coming from a guy who saw the Road Warriors live back in the day.
Same.
So, yeah, I mean, big wrestling fan. So sometimes I have that in mind with what are these maneuvers that they're going to create. That's their offense. It's like mostly two-person moves
Mhm.
that, because again, they are younger and smaller. So teaming up to have these two-person moves is, I guess, what needs to be done in much the same way that the Midnight Rockets probably had to do it with Andre the Giant. So you can't,
Right.
you need a couple people in there to,
Yeah.
effectively take down the bigger opponents.
So it's going to be a 3-part series.
Mhm.
Are we just going to be dealing with the one villain for the entire miniseries, or are we going to get another villain in there perhaps?
Oh, there's what's it called? Well, the villain again is a crime boss, so he has some underlings, and we do have just not him shown.
Mhm.
We do have
Okay.
organization.
Mhm.
So
We got some mid-level guys in there.
And as the series progresses, Elijah Smoke is the crime boss. Elijah Smoke. He's going to make use of sort of his vast, almost unlimited resources to try and put GWP down once and for all. And what those resources turn out to be is going to be a very fun surprise. But not a fun surprise for GWP, a fun surprise for you, the reader.
I like it. I like a good surprise in my comic books, man. Let's transition. Dude, I'm sold on the book, and I'm sure many more people will be. Make sure if you're watching or listening later, there's going to be a link down in the description to go follow the pre-launch of this page or of this Kickstarter. So make sure you hit that notify me link on that Kickstarter and give it a follow, for that way you get notified when it does launch. But let's talk a little bit about the state of indie comics right now. What is the current state of indie comics from your perspectives? And I'll kick it to you first, Dan.
Well, I think indie comics are alive and well, as we again have crowdfunding has come in to help that along. But in Thunder Zone, I do have books that go directly to our online store, which if you search Indie Planet Thunder Zone, and Indie with a Y, even though Indie is usually IE, Indie Planet, one word, then Thunder Zone, you'll see we do have like books that are straight to that online store. So print on demand.
Now, is that your personal online store, or is that part of a bigger network of?
That is part of a bigger network. It is our printer. Kablam has an online store, Indie Planet. So pretty much a lot of people have referred me to their printer, and the printer might have a good price on however many copies or whatever. Indie Planet, you order the book, they print up a copy, they mail it to you. So I'm not getting 1,000 books in my garage and running to the post office every time someone orders a comic. It's in that online store. It's completed, so it's not like, I used to call them kick enders. Like, here's my kick ender. The book is out. Order it. You're going to get it.
Yeah.
right out the gate. So I think websites like that have made it possible for the indie comic to thrive, in the fact that now, I mean, for myself, I'm a big customer there as well. A number of the other publishers Ray has written for are there as well. And I can just gather a certain number of books in my shopping cart until it's a good amount to save on postage, get them all mailed to me at one time. I'm not going to put the Kickstarter books in the Indie Planet store. It's kind of makes a Kickstarter
it's a null and void. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'll just wait for it to come in the store. I think it's best, and we have this volume of books coming out, to the fact that you'll get new releases in Indie Planet, you'll get new releases on Kickstarter, so you'll have, two places where you're getting a steady stream of Thunderdome comics. And I believe that's, websites like that, things like that, make it great. If we do get in the catalog, like I said, with Filbo, and that's comic stores as well. So, indie comics, I think, is alive and well, but there's just a lot of indie comics. So again, getting the word out becomes more important than ever.
Ray, I'll kick it over to you.
Thanks. I mean, I have to agree with a lot of what Dan said. A bit of a unique perspective. I do a lot of writing for Big Bang Comics, and Big Bang was published by Caliber in the late 80s, early 90s. I might have my history wrong on that one. It was published by Image in the 90s, then AC in the early 2000s, and they did a couple of specials. And what Big Bang, why Gary Carlson and Big Bang sort of have moved to the Indie Planet model is they ended up owing Image money at a certain point, just because not enough people were ordering sort of copies. So print on demand sort of guarantees that you as a creator aren't going to lose out money creating this book. And I think stuff like Indie Planet and print on demand has made it a lot easier and more accessible for people to sort of make and print their own comics. I was at WonderCon earlier this year, and I got approached by a guy who was trying to do his own comics after a panel. And he asked me, how do I get this out there? And me and Rick Offenberger, who Dan knows, he's the brilliant head publisher of G-Man Comics. Rick just said, if you get that on Indie Planet, you can get a copy for just yourself. You can get 5 copies for your family, and it'll just cost that. And if anybody ever wants to buy it, it's on there forever. I think that's just one of the great things about Indie Planet. And I think stuff like Indie Planet and social media and just sort of the world being just more connected by the internet, it's made it a lot easier to do independent comics. I think I have something 20 odd writing credits to my name. I think I've met maybe 3 of the people I work with face to face. The internet's made it so much easier to do sort of have teams collaborate from afar. However, because people are able to make comics so much easier, and because there's so much more indie comics out there, everybody's fighting for that spotlight. So that is what makes it hard. It's harder to get eyes on books. It's harder to sort of get yourself out there. Sorry, I feel like I'm droning on here a little bit, but just
no, you're good. That's the point of it.
I'm always hustling for new gigs and new jobs and new publishers, and sometimes I'll apply to a place because I think it would just because I think it would pay good, or it would be a good stepping stone. Some places I apply to just because it would be a dream thing to work on, or I just think I would have a blast doing it. And in this case, I applied to a place that I grew up reading the publisher's comics. I'm a big fan of theirs. I reached out and I said, hey, I'm an indie writer. I've worked for this guy kind of thing. I'd love to work for you if I can. And they got back to me with just a standard form letter.
Yeah.
And it was maybe the meanest email I've gotten in my life. They basically
that sounds about right.
They said, hey, so we don't hire indie writers because they either A, take our characters and introduce their own characters in the stories, B, they just write a Batman story and put our character's name on it, or C, a bad combo of the two. Thanks for your interest, though. And it was kind of I mean, I know
it's insulting as hell.
Yeah.
To think that you wouldn't come up with something original to present.
Yeah, and I found it a little hurtful because I'd worked for some of the people that had worked there before, and I sent like a polite follow-up that was like, hey, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bother you, and I've worked for these people and these people and these people, and I think they can vouch for the fact that I don't do this, and I love these characters, and I would want to write with them. And they got back to me eventually and said, hey, so that's just a form letter that we send to everybody, but we're still not looking for writers. And obviously I was aware of this, but that moment, which happened just like 2 months ago kind of thing, really made me more aware of like, there's so many people out there trying to make indie comics, so many people out there trying to write indie comics. Like, you got to fight for that spotlight, and like, you got to keep fighting. Sorry, that was long walk for a short drink of water. Just the point I was making is it's very saturated, but it's also like, if it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't have been able to meet Dan. I wouldn't be able to work on GWP. And like, I'm eternally grateful for that. Like, and I think like we talked about it a little bit earlier, is just you and I had been in the same circles for a while. You'd read some of my books, I'd read some of yours, and I reached out and said, hey, like, I'm not like looking to get paid, but can I help you with something? And that led to it was the Argo Comics double shot number 5 story, right? Night Ranger meets Law and Order.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I got that. Heck yeah. And that was a ton of fun. Very similar to GWP. Dan sent me sort of the finished artwork for something and told me what happened, and I just got to come up with the dialogue for it. And you know, it was just a lot of fun. It's why I was so thrilled to do like the next gig and then GWP. I love writing comics, and I like working with Dan.
Yeah. So with that being said, go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say, in our correspondence and in reading Ray's other material, as I said, I purchased all these other, you know, Big Bang and G-Man and a lot of these standard comics. I'm purchasing these books, and I'm seeing an intelligence in the writing. And through our correspondence, as you can see, what I was talking about in the fact that I don't want to put out a Marvel book or a DC book because they're already there. I came to find, you know, Ray had, you know, that mind to be able to pull things out of these characters and give it an angle, because what he said is true. There are writers who are going to give you, you know, they're a Batman fan, and in their mind, okay, that's your Batman. I'm going to go, and then you're done, because Batman's already got those fans. They're not going to want to go to you for, you know, that bootleg Batman.
Yeah.
There are a couple companies, and some of, even admittedly with Big Bang, they are homage characters. They are, you know, that is another niche in the fact that a lot of us don't get the Superman we want, the Batman we want, the Flash we want. So there is an indie comic company that could give them that. We have unexplored histories of different characters where public domain publishers can play, which I did one myself with Nature Man, being a revival of the public domain Nature Boy character back from Charlton, created by Jerry Siegel and John Buscema. So
cool.
There is a place for that, but I found, again, Ray in these, you know, drafts of the comics, or even some of the stories we are currently developing, something akin to what I'm looking for, which not every writer is going to be able to provide that. And he's already worked with Ron a number of times. Ron Williams, admittedly, the art was done for him ahead of time this time. And actually, Ron did it a little while ago. So he's been waiting for us to finally put this out. And Tio Pinheiro did the colors. You've seen the preview, Ray. You've seen all the pages. So very proud of this book. Yeah. And, I think it's worthwhile to put it into the comic market. If it didn't turn out this good, I might shop around the publishers or something like that. But this is something that I think everyone involved did a great job and will be very proud of it when that Kickstarter launches.
You wouldn't be kickstarting it if you didn't think it was worthwhile. And part of the reason why I had such a blast doing GWP is I'm looking over the artwork and reading sort of Dan's outlines for it, and I hadn't really read a story like this before. And these characters, I haven't really seen characters like this before. So it was something new and fun that I got to play around with. And what I really enjoyed about working on GWP was it was kind of a new challenge for me because, as Dan said, all the art was drawn and colored and ready to go before I even saw it. And then I sort of got to take the narrative threads that Dan started with and sort of weave them into this, or weave them into a tapestry over top of the art to make it into just the awesome story that I think we're excited to launch.
I like it. So one of my goals when I started 2026 was, how do I make indie comics mainstream? And with that being said, do you think a lot of the mainstream readers, or just readers in general, are becoming more open to creator-owned books? And I'll start with you, Dan.
Well, I think, people have been able to overcome just this prejudice of only the big two. And this is, look at Ray's shirt. And, I have a life-size Superman in my comics room. There's nothing that I do not like about, much of the output that the big two has made. There he goes. You've always shown action figures. I made this Doc Samson before there was a Doc Samson Marvel Legends. I said, I got to make my own Doc Samson. And
that's awesome.
That is really cool.
This is, again, they just released him, but for years there was no Count Nefaria. So this was a custom Count Nefaria. So, I'm a big fan. I could talk on and on about the big two comics, but I think the indie comics now, you have television shows like The Boys and Invincible. These are Walking Dead. These are things that have allowed, over the years, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles probably broke some barriers, The Tick. These are all things that let people know that, there's stuff that's worthwhile in indie comics. So I think that some of that, you'll still have, they used to call the Marvel zombie. You'll have that to some degree. You might even just have a Marvel movie zombie. It's I don't bother with those books, but those movies are great. But I think with the greater exposure to these independent properties, I think, yeah, the stigma of an indie just being a copy of the big two characters kind of eased up a little. You'll still have it.
Mhm.
You'll still see the guy who says, "Oh, he has a cape and he flies. Is that your Superman? Oh, he has a cape. He doesn't fly. Is that your Batman? Oh, the colors are red and yellow. Is that your Phoenix?" It's just something that they can associate because they're protective of that, and I can understand. I love the characters as well. So you're going to perhaps, if you don't have that creativity, and I think throughout this whole episode, I've been telling you, I'm looking outside of things, trying to bring different things into characters that I'm not seeing in comics before. I think people, to some degree, as long as they're not that Marvel zombie, whatever, accept that now and see that there is stuff that's worthwhile in the indies.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I really couldn't agree more. Sometimes I feel like I don't have the best perspective because like nobody at my high school was into comics, so I'm kind of just used to it being like my thing, and I'm cool with that. And I'm really lucky now that I have like friends that read comics. Like I was just having a conversation with one of my coworkers today, and he's a huge Buffy fan and like follows like Angel and Buffy, and they just announced that they're doing an Angel comic that like
I just bought a collection of old Buffy and Xena.
That's awesome. But they just announced they're doing a new Angel comic where it's going to pick up right from the finale. And he said, I wonder how to get my hands on this. And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, dude, I'll just get you a copy and you can pay me back kind of thing. So I may have just created a new comic fan today.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I really do think shows like Invincible and The Boys have really helped bring sort of indie characters to the mainstream because, well, The Boys is Dynamite and Invincible's Image. Oh man, I don't know how
They're both Image.
For a second. He's got the big eye on his chest. And I just think that it's getting better and better for indies. And like you see new announcements every day. Like not sure if you guys would be familiar with this. El Gato Negro. Richard E. Dominguez. He's a comic creator who created like the first Latino independent comic superhero. Amazon is doing a show based on that. It should come out in a year or two. That Texas Blood is getting a TV show adaptation.
That's going to be so good if it follows the book.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? Like That Texas Blood is getting a TV show adaptation.
Something is Killing the Children.
Yes.
Like 3 other of his properties are getting either animated or live action series from TNN.
Yeah, and like the Bloodshot movie broke my heart, but I'm still praying Valiant will turn it around at some point. Come on, please make a Ninjak movie. I'm begging you, make a Ninjak movie. But that's neither here nor there. But I think comics are becoming more mainstream. I think more and more people are sort of looking outside of Marvel and DC and looking to the titles, and hopefully a lot of those eyes are going to fall on us. When's the Argo 5 movie?
Yeah, that's
or would you rather an animated show like Invincible?
slated. Yeah, I'd probably go animated. Being animated is more, I guess, in line with the comics. But you know, actually, in Kickstarter, you'll see some people who are pretty much animating on their Kickstarter video, and you know, that's always good and everything. And if it got optioned, that'd be one thing. But some people take that on as a second hobby. And, you know, I'm at Argo 5 number 48. And it's because I've, you know, concentrated on making the book rather than getting sidetracked. A lot of people with these cartoons.
So I just seen a company that's actually, they will take your comic book and animate it. Like it still looks like a comic book, but the pages and stuff, like certain like action sequences on the page are animated.
Yeah, no, that's a cool thing to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was like a random thing I just ran across. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I just kept scrolling.
Any comic creators out there, just so you know, Richard Dominguez from El Gato Negro, we have a Facebook group, Creators United.
Oh, right. Of course you would know from that, Dan. Sorry, it's my mind.
Yeah, just if anyone's interested in, some comics discussion and everything. Each year I've organized an indie comic book calendar with them with proceeds going to the Hero Initiative. So, and I guess it's still in development. Richard, myself, John Arujo, we have a little project we've been putting together for a number of years on and off. So I'll see if we can get that completed at some point. And it involves El Gato Negro, John's Andromeda character, and my Shazarath from Argo 5, that Maltese deity I mentioned before. So it's been delayed. It's on and off. He has a lot going on, like you said, with that show for El Gato Negro. But it's always that interaction with other publishers is always one of the most fun things about indie comics. Mm-hmm. And I like the Thunder Zone because that was, again, bringing a number of indie publishers together, putting those characters on the same earth. And, I was in that bubble for years with Argo Comics, all my own characters. That interaction adds another flavor to comics creation that's very enjoyable.
So do y'all think audiences want new superheroes?
Yes, absolutely. I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah. Again, I think as long as you're giving them something a little different, they're kind of captured by the, let's say, concept or elevator pitch or whatever. Again, with Clickbait, a book that I have in pre-launch, I explained it, and someone said, that's your best concept yet. Because, again, it was just, it fell into place for them. Mm-hmm. And I think, or, again, with the book Big House Blues, that's corrections officers who are, in a supervillain prison. All the superheroes are corrections officers. That was, again, a concept that people were like, okay, I haven't seen that. That's, why hasn't that been done? And people tell me that would be a natural, to be on film. So I think, people want superheroes, but they want something different, which is why The Boys give you something different. Mm-hmm. Invisible give you something different. I think both of those give you something different in the, partially in the category of gore, but it is.
Yeah, they were toned down. I don't think people are going to realize how much both those properties were toned down to be put on TV.
Yeah, people talk about like how crazy The Boys is, and I read all those comics at way too young an age. And I kind of just look at them and I have to be like, you have no idea what the G-Men are in The Boys. In that comic, they are so different than they are in the TV show. And like, that is something you could never put on screen. Like there's stuff in The Boys comics that like, I will never unsee.
Dude, there's some stuff that happens to Mark in Invincible that you can't even talk about on a live podcast.
Oh, that's going to happen in the show. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think we get that in the show.
Well, they keep pushing the boundaries a little more and a little more.
They do, but there's a few scenes that happen to Mark that I don't think we will get.
Yeah, I have the compendiums. So I did read that entire series, but yeah, they're to top that, I don't know where they're going to have to go. They might have to do a Faust or something from Brian
Oh gosh.
Vigil to top what they've been doing already.
A Faust show.
Yeah.
That would just be like nonstop gore.
Yeah.
Like, I've read some of those issues. Holy cow, Faust is something else, man.
Yeah. So, what do y'all think is missing from mainstream superhero comics?
Honestly, I mean, I find it hard to complain because I'll be honest, I'm loving Absolute Batman. I know some people think it's going too far or it's too crazy. Love Absolute Batman, love Absolute Superman. Marvel just killed off Captain America in both the Ultimate and real life universes, so my interest in them has kind of go.
Give it 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm thinking he'll be back after this summer's event, but I was really enjoying Chip Zdarsky's series with Captain America, so the fact that they've killed him off is a little annoying. But I think what I'd want to see more of is just like more indie superhero series doing more sort of unique takes. Like, did you guys read Local Man by Tim Seeley from Image? That book is amazing. Like, I mean, obviously I'm biased because I love Big Bang Comics and I love 1963 by Alan Moore. And both of those series are sort of homaging like the Bronze and Silver Age eras of comics. This was one of the first comics I read that was sort of doing that sort of Alan Moore sort of taking a look at this era, but through a critical lens. But they were doing that to 90s comics. Like, and I think it's because those guys like Tim Seeley grew up on 90s comics. I think it's just really interesting. And I'm so bummed that that series got not canceled, but it got put on like indefinite hiatus just because it wasn't selling enough copies. And that really bums me out because I thought it was just such a unique take.
Yeah. No, same.
And that's what we need more of.
There's
And
Hasso.
there's Matt. How you doing? Matt Hasso, amazing writer of Phantom Hawk, Quickwire, many titles for Grok Comics, and many amazing upcoming projects. Scripter extraordinaire. Most of the best.
Don't inflate him. Don't inflate his ego. You know how big his ego is. Come on, man.
All right, I'll leave it be. I had a few more amazing things to say, but
Another fine Canadian right here with D. Hope D's having a wonderful night. Thanks for joining us. But Dan, I'll kick it over to you. Did you have a chance to answer that one?
Sorry, I rambled on there.
You're good, Ray.
I think I answered, right? Didn't I answer first?
For the what's missing from mainstream superhero comics.
Well, I think the mainstream superhero comics, as far as like the big two, I heard someone make this statement. It's probably true for me. They aren't really being made for me. And, you know, with however many reboots there's been, I really just want like an X-Men book that has like Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Storm, and they've kind of like spread them out, you know, give you one in this book, one in that book, one in that book, because they have to have a whole X-Men line of books. So, and just like with the Absolutes, you know, they're not really, same thing with New 52. It's like these alternate versions that I just can't find myself really invested with.
Yeah.
So when it comes to mainstream, I find myself more a fan of different artists. So if this artist is drawing whatever he's drawing, I can take a chance, even if I'm not going to be so enthralled with the story that I'm going to have some beautiful art to look at. Because, you know, and not everyone's doing it in the style of what I have come to accept as great comic art. Because there was a time, let's say maybe the 90s, where the page rates were at their highest. So you had some of the best book with a lot of detail and cross-hatching and everything like that, that economics doesn't really give the artist the time because they got to turn out more pages to achieve a legend. So we have a more basic art style that you might see in the current mainstream comics. There are some like Nick Bradshaw who still carries the torch, or that whole line from Brian Hitch and Gary Frank. Those guys are now doing their own books because the page rates aren't where they should be. So I find myself more, like I said, a fan of following artists these days. And what's missing for me is like, I guess some of the nostalgia because, I just, enough already. Just make that DC guy Captain Marvel again. He says Shazam to turn into Captain Marvel. Let's not go with Shazam, Alakazam, or my name is Shazam, but you have to say it with meaning. It's all this muddling of the rich history of the character that kind of takes me out of it. So I guess what's missing for me is getting back to basics.
Don't they call him the captain now or something?
I don't captain. I don't know where Tennille is, but the older viewers will like that joke, Captain and Tennille. But yeah, they keep trying to fix them. So all you keep getting is these reboots to try to fix them, and they just can't get back to what made the character great in the first place.
I can never speak on any of the big two stuff because I don't read but very few things from the big two. And even the stuff that I do read from the big two, probably nobody else has interest in. So it's kind of odd that way. I'm pretty much a pure indie guy at this point in my life. So, but we're going to talk a little bit more about the Kickstarter campaign, and then we're going to start wrapping this up. So what can backers expect from the upcoming campaign? Like what kind of, are you just a pure comic book guy? You're getting the comic book, or do you have stickers and all these fun things planned for this book?
At this point, okay, this is, I guess, campaign number 16. I have a pretty good track record of getting the books out to people. The books go directly from the printer to you. So you're not waiting for them to ship them to me and then me to package them up and then send them to each of you. That, there's a bit of like stress with some backing of Kickstarters and the fact that I'm a super backer myself. I have books that I have not received. And it's almost like those were more kind of hero initiative donations there because I just am supporting people that even a couple of them I know personally and kind of knew that they're probably not going to follow through, unfortunately. So in that respect, since it goes directly from the printer, I have been sticking with books. I haven't been throwing in what I call the tchotchkes.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
I had in one Kickstarter a 11 by 17 print that was folded to get mailed to me. Buttons seem to have the potential to bend the comic a little bit, and people kind of
indent it.
Yeah. So I'm a lover of comics. Obviously, I have way too many. Again, all in printed form. So I find that, along with some collections, to be a worthwhile endeavor. If it gets to that point, I mean, hey, me and Ray kind of mentioned it. A GWP shirt would be pretty cool. One day you can wear your NWO shirt, then you can wear your GWP shirt. And, so yeah, these things I would have to kind of figure it out to make sense. Because again, if we're trying to expedite the shipping directly from the printer to you, so you get this book in a reasonable amount of time, then you're talking about this merchandise, a separate shipping charge for me to order them, come to me, ship out to you. So for now, we're all about the comics.
I like that. That's one of my favorite. When they ask, "Oh, what's the rewards for this Kickstarter?" and they just go to the comic, I'm like, that's my favorite one. But because half the time I can't remember what I ordered or if there's any perks coming my way. I'm like, honestly, I just want the comic book. So,
yeah, agreed.
So with this book, and this is going to be for both of you, what are you most excited for readers to experience? And I'll start that with Ray.
Yeah.
All right. Honestly, I'm just excited for people to experience kind of a different kind of superhero story. That's what I really like about GWP. That's what Dan's sort of vision is. That's what I was trying to get with sort of my scripting and dialogue is these are characters that you haven't really seen before. This is a story that you haven't really seen before. It's still a superhero story, but we're trying to tell it in a different way. And I'm hoping people will think it's a brush. I was almost about to say a breath of fresh air, which tells you how tired I am. But I think people will find it's a breath of fresh air. And I think people are going to really like it. And I really hope what people are going to take away most from it is I want issue 2 and 3. But yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm excited to just get it out there in the world, get people talking about it, get people enjoying it. I want people to enjoy the comic most of all,
Reasonable. You're a reasonable man, Ray.
I do.
Dan, how about you?
Yeah, I'll look forward to, having some people read this. And, there isn't, I don't have a letters page, so, but I do get some feedback. And it's always great to hear what people are thinking about it. And again, we've kind of crafted something that's different. So I'm eager to see feedback on this. And I think I'm happy to at least, again, Ron put some hard work into these 3 issues.
Beautiful artwork.
Yeah, and Tio Pinheiro on colors. I think these are 2 creators that, people have seen in some other projects. I had this combination on 2 issues of that Corrections Officers comic, Big House Blues. So that's where I said, Ron's the perfect artist for this.
Mm-hmm.
And he, I believe, really delivered. Tio's colors accentuated that. And again, these are some concepts that I have to get into it a little bit with the colorist and let him know. When you have Phaze existing in a multitude of dimensions, you have some specifics there that need to be represented.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you can't just, say here's a guy punching another guy in a city street. But again, the attention to detail that I think the whole crew gave this will really be something that readers are going to take note of.
I like it. So at this point, we're going to do some rapid fire questions, and then we're going to close this out. Don't think, just speak. When I say these, we'll start all the questions with Dan, and then Ray, you answer right after. All right?
Okay.
Favorite superhero all time?
Superman.
Batman.
Ooh, playing opposites. Marvel or DC?
I'd have to go DC.
DC. Marvel has better movies. DC has better comics. That's my line in the sand. That's my
Fair enough. Fair enough. Physical or digital.
Yeah, I've already said that. I'm obviously a physical reader.
Physical,
Much to
physical.
the detriment of my storage abilities, and the house is really getting overflown with this stuff, but physical for me.
Yep.
Most underrated comic character.
I'll go with Doc Samson since I just had him over here. He never got the proper treatment. He was, in pro wrestling terms, the jobber for the Hulk. And the fact that the villain would show up, beat up Doc Samson to show that he's tough, and the Hulk would beat him up. Hercules pretty much served the same role for Thor in the 70s. So I'll say Doc Samson's the most underrated. Hercules at least got his time in the sun.
Can I do two?
I'm going to give you one, unless they're a
Hellboy.
combo.
Hellboy. People only know the movies, and because one or two of the movies are kind of crappy, people assume it's just kind of a dumb character. The comics are some of the best ones I've ever read in my life. Like,
Fucking great answer,
people sleep
dude.
on Hellboy.
Great answer. I'm going to go with somebody, or actually a group of guys from the Sandman, and that's going to be the Dead Boy Detectives. I love their stuff, and we don't get enough of them. And I was pissed when they ended that series early, but I understand why they did it. But favorite comic run ever?
Well, that is tough, but I guess I'll go with the Byrne Claremont X-Men just off the top of my head.
Oh, God. Okay, this is off the top of my head. This can't go down in history as my favorite of all time, though it definitely deserves a spot. The Lee Kirby Captain America run. Holy crap. It's just so good.
I'll go Alan Moore Swamp Thing.
Oh, crap. That's what I should have said. No, that's a better answer. That's a much better answer.
People always forget that one. I don't know why.
I
All right,
literally
favorite
just finished
superhero
that-
movie. Favorite superhero movie.
Superhero movie. That is tough. I guess I'm kind of flip-flopping between Christopher Reeve's Superman and the first Avengers movie.
Both great choices.
It's tough.
Oh, crap. It's me now. Either The Dark Knight, The Incredibles, or Unbreakable.
Great choices, especially the trilogy there. I will go Brandon Lee, The Crow.
Wow.
Crow is so good.
It's a comic book, so it's fair game.
Oh, yeah. I gave one of my friends one of my copies of The Crow recently just because they had
The
to.
book or the comic?
The comic.
Was it a first print or a second?
It was like the remastered edition James O'Barr released a couple of years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I picked up the same one. I was going to say, if you gave away a James O'Barr first print, you just signed over like $1,200. Thank God that wasn't the case.
I wish
Right.
I had one of those.
Dream crossover with GWP.
Dream crossover with GWP. I will go. I'll go ABC Comics top 10.
That's really good.
So, they would have to visit the super town. So I guess they would find themselves in there. But it's one of my favorite series. You know what? Scratch that. I'll go GWP Elementals.
Ooh.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be really cool.
That story actually works a little better.
All right, Ray.
Oh, gosh. And I have, all right, let's think. Might be basic. I got to go Daredevil.
Okay.
I think that'd be interesting because he's a bit more of a traditional crime fighter than them, but he kind of deals with mostly like low-level mob bosses and sort of.
He's the street-level guy.
Imagine GWP versus the Hand.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
Hey, why not throw in the Ninja Turtles and have them face the Foot?
That would be better. That would be
I
better.
like it. All right, guys. Before I let you go, I need both of you to let everybody know where they can find you, and we'll start with you, Dan.
Okay. There's social media on Dan Sehn, but there's also social media on Argo Comics. So on like Instagram and YouTube, I have Argo Comics, Blue Sky Argo Comics. Facebook, I have both, so you can look it up either way there. On Kickstarter itself, you can probably search me as Argo Comics. And let's see, am I leaving anything out? Yeah, the YouTube channel Argo Comics, but again, that's just me exploring. I have some director's cuts of early issues of Argo 5 where I discuss, what went into them. But most of it is what indie comics I'm picking up and why I picked them up.
Right on. And I'm just Ray MacKay on Facebook or Ray MacKay Writes on Instagram. And if you punch me into YouTube, a bunch of other shows or interviews I've done come up. No website or anything like that for me yet. But just those two, Ray MacKay and Ray MacKay Writes on Instagram. That's how you find me.
I highly recommend everybody start with his first appearance on the USDN podcast with the Hasso Man. That's where I would start.
Last number 1.
There you go. But I want to say a huge thanks to both Dan and Ray for joining us tonight. Last minute, we pulled this show off. So big thanks to both of you guys for being ready to go last minute. That means the world to me and also the Council of Nerds. And again, for joining us and to discuss GWP, Guys with Powers, and the realities of building a creator-owned superhero universe through Kickstarter. Make sure you support the campaign, follow the creators, and continue supporting indie comics projects like this. Like this only exists when readers decide they matter. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the USDN Podcast, where indie comics come to life. The Council of Nerds is now adjourned. Y'all be safe out there.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
It's a trap!